Okay, so as you can see right here, I've laid out the majority of my cards. I say the majority because I have a lot of multiples, like a lot of multiples because of the number of decks that I've purchased. So I've taken out stuff that I have, 6 or 12 of or whatever. I've knocked them down to about 4 or 5 or 6, just so it's easier for me to make multiple decks as quickly as I possibly can. Now, because this is an RPG tournament, you'll see that some of these are already in sleeves. This is because these are part of my overall decks that I use for a couple of different things. So some of them have the green background. There's others that have the anime backgrounds. I tend to put different decks in different sleeves so that way I know which ones they are. And really, the only time that I need to change stuff around is if it's like a rarer card that I'm going to use. Like, take for instance, like the Black Poison, which this is the uber rare card that was given away at conventions and stuff like that. That Kaiser was giving away. So I am not using this card, and so when I don't use this card, it's always in a sleeve because it's uber rare and I really want to keep it, and because it's super nice. So we're not going to be using this card today, so I'm just going to set this aside. Okay, so as you see, I've got 3 stacks of neutrals. Really, most of the time I like to break them down into weapons, armor, relics, things like that. You break them into the categories so it's easier for you to find when you're making decks at high speed. I've kind of cheated and kind of done like the whole cooking show kind of thing, and I've already gone through and I've put a stack of ones that are potentials for this particular tournament for the RPG stuff. And then of course we've got wind, we've got tech, we've got chaos, darkness, earth, and holy. Because this is the RPG tournament and because we are going to be doing I am going to be doing a darkness style deck for Samler. We're just going to go ahead and set these off to the side because honestly we don't need them. When it comes to RPG stuff, in normal decks you can put in lower level bits from another source, but because this is an RPG tournament, I'm not going to do that because I want to try to remain as close to Samler's idea as possible. So I'm just going to take these out of the way. So that way we have a nice clean area to work. Now, I should preface this whole thing by saying the deck that I'm going to build, I am not intending to win. Samler is a character that doesn't win fights. He survives fights, either by dying or by hiding behind lots of creatures. So this deck is going to have a lot of control. It's also going to have a lot of creatures. It's especially going to have a lot of relics because, as I said before, Samler is a collector. He is the collector. He goes from battlefield to battlefield collecting relics, artifacts, things like that, fixes them up, and uses them himself, or he gives them to Kaiser's armies so that way they can become more powerful because, of course, Samler is a big advocate for the Kaiser, and he thinks that Titan is on its way by being in the control of the Kaiser. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. As you can see, I am doing this all on the official Dark Legacy mat. One reason why I do that is because when you play test these, you want to play test it on the mat. I mean, what you learn the mat, you can kind of do away with it, but you want to play test it a couple of times to make sure that it has the speed that you want. If you're looking to do something specific, like if you have a ninja deck, you're going to want your ninja to be very fast. You have a lot of quick cards and things like that, so you're going to design it a specific way. For Samler, because he is slow moving, I don't have a lot of movement enhancements. I don't have cyber wings. I don't have, and he doesn't really use a weapon, so I don't have a lot of, shockwave and all those other things that give you a lot of bonuses to attack. Most of his attack primarily comes from just having a relic that he's put together. And any of the magic that he does use is usually in part because he's undead. So he has a lot of undead kind of things, some psychoses kind of things. But we're going to take a look at that. So, all right, we're going to set the darkness aside for right now. And then we're going to focus a little bit on our neutral cards, because Samler's deck is going to be primarily neutral cards. And as you can see, again, have a lot of cards that are already in sleeves from previous decks, because these are kind of cards that I like to use because I think they're fun. I don't necessarily build decks to win. I build decks for fun, because I think that card games, or just any kind of game, is much better if it is fun. Because if you put a lot of drive into just winning, you kind of lose the feeling of the game, and it's all about just crushing your opponent in like 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. So I prefer to have a little bit more of a go. I'm going to try to zoom this in so you can kind of see the cards themselves that I'm going to be picking. All right, so we got the Soul Keeper here. Soul Keeper's nice because he is a relic, and I can take a creature from the top of my boneyard and put it back into my hand, which, going along with Samler, is a great card. Now, now this RPG tournament is going to be conducted from level 5. So, as you can see, looking at the card level, it is a level, because it's not going to autofocus. Ha 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 ha. So I forget to turn on autofocus. Ha ha ha. Look at that. Professional. Whoop. It's level 13. So I'm going to have to charge this for like 8 rounds before I'm able to use it. But since it is a relic, I might take it just because I put it in there. So we're going to put that in the yes pile. So I'm going to have a yes pile or a maybe pile, and then like a no pile. Sonic Screams, yeah, we'll put the Shield of Decay. This is, now you can only have 2 pieces of armor. I should probably put it in 2 pieces of armor in your deck, or in your deck. So a Shield of Decay is perfect for me because it's basically anti-holy. Because anytime a holy person attacks me, they take 2 damage, that kind of thing. So we'll do that. Diplomacy, it's a magic. It basically negates all dealing, but I interpret the Diplomacy for Samler anyway as a basically he made a deal with the devil, more or less, and takes no damage. So that's kind of what we have the puzzle. Puzzle's kind of nice. All spells cost 1 more casting points, which is cool. Again, it's a relic, so Samler's going to pick it up, and it's only a level 8. Runestones are very important because you have a 50-card minimum in your deck. 50 cards minimum in your deck. And because Samler doesn't like to do a lot of stuff, his decks are usually going to be right at 50. Maybe a little bit more, and I tend to put in a little bit of a sideboard. In case I do survive the first round, what I do is there's an approved special rule for Samler. And what that is if I have I have a 15-card sideboard. If my opponent that I defeat has a particular relic that I have already in my sideboard, I can slide that in because I'm basically taking it from his hero, and Samler is using that to continue on. So that's kind of the trick. So he starts at 50 cards, and then he might go up to 65, maybe 70 cards, depending on how many cards I actually have in the deck. But runestones are very important because they let you basically recycle your deck, so I don't get decked out, which has happened many times because I do have a very small deck. Thermal Vision, I'm going to take this 1 enhancement. Again, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but the Thermal Vision, because he's undead, he's going to be able to see or sense people behind things. There's another Diplomacy, music boxes, so we can hold. I know I'm kind of doing this kind of fast, and I apologize. But the music boxes are nice because they will help you hold 2 casting points. And it's a quick level 3. Only costs 7. So I can get those out there pretty quick. And they're relics, so of course Samler's going to have them. Ancient Golems, perfect. They're a relic. They're a 5/5 creature, or a 4/5 creature. And they can hit flying. So it's a perfect defense and a perfect way for Samler to not die too quickly. Here's a Spike Glove weapon. Sometimes he'll occasionally pick up weapons and hit stuff. So we'll go ahead and put the Spike Gloves in there just to have another music box. Odin's Eye. I can look at my opponent's top 2 cards in their deck. Oops. In their deck, and then I can put one of those 2 in the Boneyard, which is a great way for me to kind of get rid of a card that I think is going to kill me. Again, it's a relic. It's a level 12, so I'll have to charge it up a little bit, but again, it's something Samler would have. Relic Hunter. Why wouldn't Samler create his own or have his own little army of relic hunters that also go? I more imagine this guy like an undead skeleton that just kind of goes along behind him. It's only a 2/2 creature and it costs 5, but in relics cost 1 less. So for Samler, that works out fine. 2 more ancient goblins or golems, right there. And then we have some antidotes. Antidotes are always good. Mostly because if people are using black poison or any other poison deck with ninjas and stuff like that, antidotes are always good. And because Samler's undead, he's going to be kind of immune at some point to a lot of stuff, so that's kind of why I put it in there. Counterspell, because he's going to have a natural aura of protection for that. And then here's one that I really like. It's called Psychosis. It's an instant. Target creature attacks an allied creature of my choosing. It's a level 9, so I got to charge it up for 4 to use it. But these are really great to kind of cause fear or terror, and then make them attack their own creature. Ancient Writings. Basically, you know, I can search my opponent's deck for a relic and put it into my own hand. Again, works great, especially if they have a Dip Watch or something. Take that Dip Watch right out of their hand. Another Psychosis. Iron Golem. Basically, here's a 5/5 creature, relic, rank 11, so only 6 to go for. As you can see, a lot of relics. I pulled a lot of relics out. And then Holy Scrolls. I can search my deck for a relic card and put it into my hand. Holy Scroll must get into your Boneyard after that, so I can put it back in the Boneyard. It is a 16, so I will have to charge it for 11 turns. 11 turns. So more than likely, I won't use that until it's much later in the game, until I have a lot of other stuff come out, and probably 1 or 2 relic hunters. So it cuts this 11 down to something a little bit more manageable. Here's a couple more relic hunters. Tears of Blood. This is a magic. I do 10 damage. Samler's kind of a semi-magical construct. So basically making things weak blood makes a lot of sense to me. Psychic Motivator, draw more cards. Again, as the battle wears on for Samler, he's going to need to draw more power as quickly as he can to continue to regenerate himself and to kind of move forward. Health Regulator. This is an enhancer that basically gives you 1 life per round. It is a level 7 enchantment, but this works well for Samler's regeneration ability. So it looks more like a something that you see like on Aquaman or whatever. But I figured it would go really well with Samler's story if I reimagined it as just his natural tendency to pick up flesh or skin and put it on himself. And then we have Petrify, which is always great. These are instances. We're going to have the 3 of those. Target creature cannot attack, block, or activate until the end of turn. Again, works out great. For me, it's only a level 3 and costs 2 points. So that right there is a music box. Works out fantastically for. Wow, this card is really good. All summoned creatures are destroyed and go to the Boneyard. It's a level 14, so it's one of those things that's going to take 9 turns to get. Costs 16 points, but it is basically the end of the world for whatever they got in there. And I will put this card in there just as one of those things where Samler needs more toys to play with. So that's the way I foresee that card. And I mispronounce it every single time, no matter how many times I ask. Kaiser Tiatwaski is the way I pronounce it, but I know it's wrong. Light Darkness Armor, just because it's darkness armor, and I'm going to need it. Another Psychic Motivator, casting box, level 10, but holds 5 casting points in there, which is great. And I'm sorry, the light's getting a little discombobulated here, but always professional here on my stream. Here we go. Torture Rack. This is good. It's a level 16, so it's going to take a really long time to get out. But at the beginning of your opponent's turn, your opponent receives 1 damage for every summoned creature in play under their control. So, bam. If they're another creature-heavy deck, this is going to work out fantastically. Now I have poison for Samler because, let's face it, he's undead. He's going to be gross. He's going to have a lot of stuff. Power Core. All summon creatures receive +0, +2. It's a level 9, costs 8 points to get out. Pretty quick, pretty easy. Get done with it. Relic Buster. Well, let's face it, if they've got a relic that I want, I can break it and steal it. Steal it. Puppet Strings, another relic, but it lets me activate or unactivate a target creature, so I can keep the stuff, occupied while I'm doing stuff. De-enhance, just because I want to be a jerk. Mute more music boxes, casting container, level 12, but lets me hold 10 casting points. Awesome, lots and lots of casting points for Samler because he needs to put out a lot of creatures pretty quick. We'll get to that when we get to the darkness stuff. Counterspell again, or antidotes and stuff. And I know that you can only have 3 in your deck, but I'm just kind of going through these cards really fast because I literally just drop them into a stack just so it moves faster. Because imagine how slow this is moving and how fast it would be, or how slow it would be if I had lots and lots of cards. Forearm Mutation. Let's face it, Samler can put stuff on him. Basically lets me hold 4 weapons at the same time. Even if I don't have 4 weapons, I'm going to put that in there just because it's Samler and he's going to be able to have multiple arms. Armor Buster, so I can get through somebody's armor. Rock Form adds 35 to my defensive points, which for Samler always works great because maybe I pick up Dragon Scales or something like that and apply them to myself. Another Runestone. A Mystery Box. Mystery Boxes are fun because if I activate the Mystery Box, take 2 of your creatures and 2 of your opponent's creatures that are in play and shuffle them. Then your opponent will choose 2 cards. Those 2 cards go into the Boneyard, and the other 2 go back into play. So there you go. Now, the advantage, disadvantage to the Mystery Box is a lot of people like to put sleeves on their cards like this. So if I'm playing with a sleeved card and you're playing with unsleeved cards, then you know which ones are mine, so you can kind of pick those out. So for a situation like that, you'd call over a ref or whatever and have them do it for you. Grounding Blast. All creatures, tokens, and heroes lose flying until the end of turn. It's a level 5 instant spell. So again, wouldn't be too bad, especially if I've got a bunch of creatures that don't fly. Boo, send them down to the ground. Wipe them out with my creatures. Another Armor Buster. The Armory, which is the part of the brand new expansion set, lets me hold up to 5 additional weapons. Again, he doesn't carry a lot of weapons, but because it is a relic, it is something that Samler would have on him. Disarmed if I want to take away your weapons. Full Contact. So all the spells that say no damage are dealt are negated. Perfect. Again, part of the expansion set. Relic Pouch, which is something that Samler loves, is in play. Under your control, you have the ability to store 2 separate relics on the Relic Pouch. All stored relics are able to use their abilities. It's only a level 7 and only costs 13 points. So, ba-bam. Works out great. Here's another piece of armor here. Mask of Terror. This is pretty cool because any damage done to Samler in melee is cut in half. So all those people that are swinging for like 76 points that just murder me, this is going to take a little bit longer. And the way that I interpret the Mask of Terror is that it's Samler. His face is probably half rotting off at the point, and depending on the weather, he probably smells horrid. Hand of Power. Hero gets +8. It's a relic. He'd probably have that on him. Hand of Fate is, again, another relic that you can have. If Hand of Power is in play, then Hand of Fate gives the hero 8 life points. Every damage done to the hero, there can be only 1 Hand of Fate in play per time. So these in conjunction work really well together. Breastplate of Life. At the beginning of your turn, when equipped, the Breastplate of Life gains 1 more point. Again, I interpret this as his natural regeneration ability. So as you can see, we've already gone above, I think, 3, maybe 4 armors. So we'll have to go back through and cut those down. Another relic, Tech Factory. Well, you know what? He's not going to use that, so we're just going to throw that away because there's no way he would use a Tech Factory. Nimral's Opticals. This one's pretty good. Activate Nimral's Opticals, lock at the and look at the next 5 cards from your deck and put them into your hand. Choose 5 cards to keep and put the rest of your hand into the boneyard. So if I've got a bunch of high-level cards that I can't do anything with and I need some more creatures, Opticals might be pretty good. And again, some more Relic Hunters. Prophecy Eye. These are great because then your opponent plays with all the cards face up. So it kind of gives you a little bit of advantage to see what's coming. Necklace of Knowledge. The Necklace of Knowledge here is great because I can activate the Necklace of Knowledge and look at the next 3 cards in your deck and place those 3 cards on top of your deck. So on top of my deck. I keep saying your, like you, but it's really me doing it. Magic Nullifier Gauntlets. Again, it's another piece of armor. Magic you use to damage your hero. Roll a d20, 12 or higher. The spell is dispelled. It gives you 15 points. It's a level 1 armor. Depending on if they're Healy bits. The only problem with some of these armors is that, yes, you can only have 2, but even if I want to swap out armors in between, because maybe it got busted or whatever, because Samler, when his armor is busted, he can't use it. He won't use it again. He has to find another one. So I have to hope that there's another darkness there, or at least another armor that I can wear. Chaos, Earth. He won't wear Holy. He won't wear Tech. So that's just one of those things. And again, I've got to have it on my sideboard. Binding Chains, a level 2 enchantment. Pretty good. Target creatures cannot attack, block, activate, or unactivate. These are pretty good if they've got something that's pretty massive and I don't want it to kill me just yet. Another Psychic Motivator. Razor Fingers. Why not? It's an enchantment. When I get +3 to my attack, again, level 2, cost 5. So for +2, for me, just rake at somebody with my Pestilence Claws, who knows. Power Boost, I can give a +3/+3 to any creature. Tears of Blood, some more antidotes. Regeneration, which is the #1 thing for Samler. All damage dealt to the target creature or hero is reduced to 0. So Samler is going to be very selfish with those. So I did a pretty good job just kind of speed grabbing a bunch of relics here. And I'm sure there's, people that'll be like, oh, you should take this and that and this and that. And again, yeah, in a normal deck, I might take some more extravagant cards or some different lineup, or I might put in the Tech Factory. But this is for the RPG deck. I'm less likely to put in what I call odd cards. That would be odd for Samler, because this is an RPG tournament, and you do get story points for living in your character's skin. So Samler, I really like the character of Samler. When I created him, I specifically went to the creator of the game and said, this is what I want to do, because everybody up until this point has been against the Kaiser or has been against a certain faction in the game. And I was like, you know what? What if I was, pro Kaiser? Would everybody hate me? And that's kind of given a cool little rift to Samler, is that whenever there is a big battle, whenever there's a big tournament or whatever like that, he shows up, not necessarily to win, but just to kind of be there for the Kaiser, as his eyes and ears. He's kind of like a spy, but just this slow-moving, sloth, dead creature that just kind of does it, as I've talked about before. All right, so these are darkness cards. Now, as you can see, I've probably had, this is from a previous Samler iteration. For early tests, when I was putting Samler together, you can see that there's a lot of darkness cards already in sleeves. Most of those are probably going to come back into this Samler deck, but I wanted to add more creatures this time to the deck. So here we go. So we're going to try worms. They're pretty good. They're level 2, so I can get them out right away. They only cost 1 point. They're 1/1 creatures. Again, they're going to work out great, especially for sacrifice, where I can sacrifice a creature and draw 2 cards. Hey, look at that. Yes, we're going to have that. Darkness negates the damage dealt. Harpies, they're level 5. They're flying. Would Samler have harpies? No, he wouldn't. So we're going to set those to the no pile, because Samler wouldn't have harpies. Vampires probably would hang around with him because he's undead as well. He'd give them the kills, things like that. They're a level 8, so I would have to charge them up a little bit to do it. But they are flying. They're 4/3. And if a creature is destroyed by a vampire, place a 1/1 token on the vampire, because that gives basically them another 1/1 creature. Vultures, of course, will follow around Samler because he's dead. They're vultures. They're gonna want eat. Darkness Eyes, yes, because all darkness cards cost 1 less. Another vulture, an evil spirit. Yep, probably gonna be hanging around with Samler. There's some more vulture, evil spirit, bats. Zombies will definitely be hanging around with Samler. Ghouls, I can see ghouls kind of hanging out with them. Another Darkness Eye. All right, an Abomination. Here we go. An Abomination, that's kind of what Samler is in a nutshell. So we're definitely going to put this in there. This is a level 8 creature, is 10 sex. Costs 10 casting points. So that right there is a pretty hefty amount. But it's only three rounds of waiting, so we'll put that in there. Nightmare. Okay, here we go. This is something that we probably would put into a normal deck, one of our higher level decks, but not for this one because, let's face it, it's 15 points. It's 12, level 12. It is an 8/12 creature, but I can't see why he would have a Nightmare, other than as like a Guardian thing. But then, if that was the case, then I would have Samler as a creature, and be that guy. So we'll put that in the no category. Darkness Knight. You know what? He's cool. He's 5/6. I really like the artwork. But again, it's not something Samler would go with, as well as the Queen of Darkness. This would be great if I was playing a Darkness deck, because then I'd take the Knight, I'd take the Harpies, all that kind of stuff. An Abomination, a second Abomination. Yeah, I could see him creating these Abominations, assembling the pieces himself. Horror Imp, no. There's another Nightmare. Abominate 3. Well, let's see. As you can see, I have a bunch of Abominations. We're going to say no to any more Abominations because we've already got 2 in the deck, and I think that's enough. Skeletons will definitely be hanging with Samler, as well as Giant Bats, another Sacrifice, more Darkness. Stechnoids, which are little bugs. They're level 1. They're a 1/4 creature. They only cost 4 points to put out. So, yes, we'll go with those. Skeletons. Killer Owls. Why not? Because owls are cool. And then, here you go. This is one I would definitely put in as a magic spell for Samler. It's Gravedigger. Because let's face it, what is he? He's basically a grave robber. So, take a creature out of the boneyard, put it back in your hand. Oh, yes. And because we play a large majority of creatures, this would do very well. Again, we're just going to go through here real fast. Wolves. You know what? We're going to take out the wolves because Samler would not have wolves. He definitely wouldn't have werewolves, and he definitely wouldn't have harpies. So there we go. We'll set those to the side off the camera there. So here we go. Here's our decks assembled for that. Boom. There we go. So, all right. I am going to now go back in and put these together. Into a little bit more of a deck, because this is definitely more than 50, 60 cards, which is usually my limit for my decks. So I'm going to go through so as not to kind of bore the video here. So I will be right back to show you the deck that I have created for Samler.